What's up guys, this is Chris here, and today we've got something weird for you. Today we're going to be going over the Glock Bullpup. And if you didn't know that was a thing, welcome to the rest of the world. I didn't know either, but here it is. This is actually the Meta Tactical Chassis System for Glock pistols, and this is pretty cool. I'm a big fan of this. I have done a few chassis systems on the channel previous to this, and then I saw this guy on Tim's channel, the Military Arms channel, and I was like, wow, I want that. So we went out and we got it. We actually talked to Meta Tactical and they sent this over for us, although as you guys know, that will not guarantee a positive review. They know that as well. And basically what this thing is a $500 ultralight chassis system that allows you to make a Glock Bullpup. And a Bullpup is essentially a rifle with a action in the rear, and in this case, this rifle has a Glock in its rear. In most cases, that would be painful, but in this case, it's gonna be pretty fun. Now, it's actually a little more modular, and in my opinion, a little more useful than a lot of the other ones I've used, kind of at the expense of compactness. So this is not gonna be the most compact chassis, and it's not gonna be the fastest either. Some of them you can put into action really quick. This one, you're gonna have to kind of keep converted if you wanna use it, but it does come with a lot of benefits. Starting off, the 16-inch barrel and the actual bullpup ergonomics that are actually pretty good. This reminds me a great deal of a 9mm Tavor. It even kind of looks like a 9mm Tavor, which is pretty sweet. Now, unlike a 9mm Tavor, you get a $500 Glock and throw it in your $500 chassis, and for $1,000 you have a cool looking bullpup. So basically what this is a conversion that comes with the kit. It comes with the grip, and obviously not the light or the EOTech, but it does come with the barrel and it comes with the muzzle device. So we'll spin the muzzle device off. That'll come with the gun, which is kind of cool. And it's not 1/2 by 28, I don't believe, because you can't really suppress this without it having malfunctions, because unlike a rifle, this is still run off the Glock, so it's still a Browning action. If you put a shitload of weight on that, you have problems. That's why you have to run a booster or something like that originally. So now that we have the muzzle device off there, we're gonna pop this, pop the pin, and as you can see here, we have our almighty Glock 19X. That is easier to pull out when you're not on camera. And as you see here, this is the guy that your girlfriend told you not to worry about. This is actually a 16-inch barrel inside a Glock, and it does actually fire this way, which is pretty cool. So basically you just take this apart, you put the barrel in it, and that's what makes it legal, and then you pop it in the chassis in the reverse order of which I did it, and you essentially have a Glock carbine. Now, as you can see, it's not the fastest thing in the world to do, which means that you can't just carry this pistol and then go and put this in a chassis when you need it, you know, that concept. But if you're in an area that you can only buy one gun, for example, and you want to have a bullpup like rifle style gun for home defense, and you don't want to buy an extra gun, you don't want to do the paperwork, that kind of thing, you can get into this for $500. Now, it doesn't have like a big advantage as far as capacity and stuff, but what it does give you is the 16-inch barrel, which gives you a good bit of extra energy on the 9mm cartridge, which, you know, gives you good velocity, but it also allows better expansion in some cases. And I'm not sure about accuracy. We're going to test that today, because you have to understand that at the end of the day, it is a handgun sitting in here, and they're not inherently terribly accurate, although we will see if we can make some hits out at 100. But for the most part, what you're getting is added ergonomics. You're getting two hands on the gun, you're getting shoulder fired weapon. That allows you to get intuitive aim a little bit better, and it allows most people to shoot the gun better. The gun itself won't shoot better mechanically, but you'll probably shoot it better. Now, a couple of the cool things I like about it right off the bat is you can store an extra mag here, which is pretty cool. It comes with a whole bunch of Picatinny rails, so you can put it wherever you want, but there's also M-lock slots there as well if you want to get in the 21st century. We have the magazine that sits out of the bottom there, and then we have ambi mag release there. If you want to swap your Glock magazine release to the other side, you can do that and then run it over here if you're like left-handed like my wife, wrong-handed. And then one of the coolest things I see is that it does actually have an adjustable length of pull here, and for a big tall guy like myself, that is pretty cool, because a lot of them are actually too small for me, and this one not only is pretty sturdy, but it does fit me real well, and the butt pad is pretty slick. It doesn't get caught on your shirt at all when you're shouldering the gun, and it actually feels really, really good when you're using it, unlike a lot of the old brace systems and stuff that you used to have to deal with. So as far as a rifle conversion kit goes, this is probably the best one I've seen without shooting it. That being said, we got to go shoot it and see if it's reliable, accurate, all that stuff. And you're going to see that here today. Before we do that, I want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. It's because of you we have cool guns like this and cool ammunition and all that stuff to shoot, and we really appreciate you supporting us. If you want to support us, just go to the link in the description below. Also, there's a link to a local shelter in Ames, Iowa. It's the YSS. Those kids could really use your help, so please go down there and donate to those kids. Now, let's shoot this mother and see how it goes. All right, so we had to do about a half an hour intermission, and because of that, I had to swap out my extended magazine release for a stock because it kept dropping the mag release inside the chassis. Also, with the back straps on it, it would not fit into the gun. So we had to do a little bringing it back to stock before we actually put it in the chassis. So be aware of that if you get it. All right, load her up and shoot it and see how it goes, I guess. Pop our mag in, it stays in this time. Rack it. Well, that's kind of fun. There's very low recoil on that, to be honest with you. It's kind of even maybe a little bit lighter than like a blowback PCC. Interesting. That's fun. All right, so we're learning together here. This is the magazine release. We'll try that out. Hey, look at that. It does work. And now when the gun's locked back, obviously because of Browning action, the barrel will flop all over hell, and that'll be a little weird. Maybe if you were reloading, you could use that to distract your burglar. You'd be like, oh, look at this. Then you just, I know the slide release is down here. I wanted to see if you could rack it in action. Yep, that's good. Because I wouldn't hit that. It has an exposed thing here. Now, suppose you could pop the mag in and hit the slide release. But I'm of the opinion that if there's a jammed charging handle, I just always use the charging handle. So me personally, I pop the mag in, hit the charging handle. I don't know. I just like one control for everything. So, shooting pretty good so far. Interesting. Yeah, it's a fun little gun so far. We're at 10-yard line here. And now I see this is a pretty good gun for home defense. 16-inch barrel on a 9mm is usable on a PCC, so there's no reason it wouldn't be in this, if it was reliable, of course, which it has been so far. But we've only ran 2 mags for it. Let's do some transitions on these 4 targets here, about 10 yards away, and just see how we do. Say when. I'm not sure if that's faster than a pistol for me, but it's probably faster than a pistol for most people. Most people shoot a rifle or shoulder-fired weapon better, so yeah, pretty cool. Let's try her out at 50 yards and see how we do there. Well, we had one go off. I wonder if the barrel makes it any more accurate or not.
Got one?
So I think the cone of deviation on this is a little too wide for 100 yards. And the reason I say that is because this is not the first time I've shot, especially on this range, especially at 100 yards. And I gotta tell you, at 100 yards with a rifle on an IPSC target, that's generally not too difficult of a shot for me, especially with a rested rifle. And I am aiming a little high, a little low, a little left, a little right, and then it didn't seem to matter. and I was kind of just aiming at the head box, and I could kind of see a couple of shots going left and right. And kind of what that tells me is maybe because it's a 16-inch barrel in the Browning action, maybe we don't have as much accuracy as we thought we had.
Got it.
Well, never mind. See those going left.
Got it.
All right, so yeah, I would say this is a 0 to 50, I would say. At 100 yards, I feel like our group size is just too big to hit a man-sized target effectively. All right, so what we're gonna do is we have a clean mini IPSC. It's about 1/3. It's that Wilson Combat target, and it's got a 6-inch or 8-inch ring in it. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna rest on the scaffolding at 55 yards, and we're gonna put a group on that target, I hope, and we will see what kind of size of group we get out of this guy. Maybe we are. Looks like about half of those are missing.
I hear some of it.
Okay, I guess we'll go check. All right, now I was aiming here, and that makes sense. We'd be going low because with the EOTech offset, we got quite a bit there. And that's not too bad. I'm not too worried about vertical stringing. What I'm more worried about is horizontal stringing. Because what I see here is 1, 2, 3, and then I thought I heard a 4th one, which might be this one right here. So you have a couple there, but then I also saw a few flying off left, and I even had one fly off right. And traditionally, I could blame that on myself. However, I usually don't shoot that bad. And on this, we've been having that kind of consistently happen. We're having some pretty large groups for 16-inch barrel. So my first impressions of the Mesa Tactical chassis system for the Glock are that it's pretty good. It's got some problems, it's got some solutions, it's got some pros, it's got some cons. First pro, you're gonna get more velocity. Second pro, it's gonna look cool. Third pro, you're gonna get more ergonomics. I mean, a pistol can be difficult to shoot depending on the situation, and a shoulder-fired weapon is always gonna be a little easier. The more points of contact, the better. In which case, up close, this was very fast. It was very useful. That being said, you're not gonna get the ability to put the gun in it quickly and convert it quickly. It takes a little longer to convert than a lot of other platforms like this. And you're also gonna get not an increased amount of accuracy, in my opinion. The way I shot this versus the way I would shoot a Glock handgun with a dot, I would argue that I could have hit all of them at 50 with the handgun, and I could have hit most of them at 100. And I felt like with this, just this system in particular, it seems like to me, now this could be user error, don't get me wrong, but it seemed to me like our groups were very large. I mean, I did mention that I watched Military Arms Channel's video, and I was a little concerned with that before I got in here, but we were experiencing groups at 50 yards around that size. And at 100, if you consider you double that, there's a reason why we got about 50% of the hits on there. That's because the cone of deviation was so large that some are going right and some are going left, and you just keep aiming center and kind of hope for the best. We only tried one type of ammunition, Blazer Brass. We didn't experience any malfunctions. That could have been related to the accuracy issue that we only tried one type of ammo, although Blazer Brass generally is a pretty accurate ammo. That being said, I wouldn't consider this the main philosophy of use of this to be shooting at 100, 150 yards in the first place. I would consider it to be adding more velocity, adding a better shooting ability to a platform you already have in a reasonable distance. So if you're shooting from 0 to 7 yards, 0 to 25 yards, 0 to 50 yards, I think you're good to go. I think a group this big at 50 yards is more than good enough for a platform like this, considering, I mean, when's the last time you saw a house with a 50-yard hallway? So the reality is, if you're gonna use this for home defense, I think it's reliable enough. I think most of the reason for this existing though is, again, just to be cool and look cool, and in that, it fucking does. It allows me to get into the Bullpup, which I haven't had for a while. I've had a Steyr, I've had a Tavor, I've had a Desert Tech. All of them I've since sold, and I did miss my X95, I did miss my Tavor, and I did miss my Desert Tech. I didn't miss my Steyr. Sorry guys. Die Hard's cool, but it is what it is. This, however, looks very cool, and you can get into it for 500 bucks. 1,000 if you don't have a Glock, but who the fuck doesn't have a Glock? Most people have a Glock, and if you have a Glock just laying around, especially one that you're not using, you can just pop in this chassis system. I do think it's pretty sweet. On top of that, you do get the 16-inch barrel with the kit. So a 16-inch barrel on a Glock's gonna cost you a couple $100 anyway, so you can plink out with your 16-inch barrel and look cool on Instagram or whatever you want to do with it. There's a lot of fun things you can do with this. There's some practical things, but for the most part, it's just for fun. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.